In the annals of human prejudice, anti-Semitism stands as one of the most persistent and virulent forms of hatred. This millennia-spanning bigotry has manifested in various forms, from ancient accusations of deicide to modern-day conspiracy theories. Efforts to combat anti-Semitism have often centered on education and the dissemination of factual information. While this approach is rooted in the noble belief that truth can dispel falsehood, it often proves insufficient and sometimes counterproductive. One of the reasons for this is that there is one set of facts, yet there are multiple versions of anti-Semites, such as, but certainly not limited to: 1. Anti-Semites not in intention, but in outcome. 2. Anti-Semites who only tolerate Jews when they are weak, without self-determination in the State of Israel. And 3. Anti-Semites by association, those who march with and support other anti-Semites. Therefore, using the same set of facts to resist all of these types of Jew haters and others is like treating 3 different ailments with the very same remedy. Anti-Semitism is not merely a collection of incorrect beliefs that can be corrected with accurate information. It is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon that involves deep-seated emotions, cultural narratives, and identity politics. At its core, anti-Semitism is a form of scapegoating, where Jews are irrationally blamed for a wide array of societal problems. This scapegoating taps into primal human emotions and biases, making it resistant to logical refutation. What's more, human psychology reveals that people do not always form beliefs based on facts alone. Instead, beliefs are often shaped by emotions, identity, and social context. Cognitive biases such as confirmation bias, where individuals favor information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs, as well as the backfire effect, where contrary evidence actually strengthens one's original stance, illustrate the challenges in combating anti-Semitism with facts. When confronted with evidence that contradicts their beliefs, anti-Semites often dismiss it as biased, or part of the very conspiracy they believe in. Historical attempts to counter anti-Semitism with factual rebuttals have often failed to make a significant impact. For example, there was the Dreyfus Affair in late 19th century France, a political scandal that divided the Third French Republic, and remains one of the most notable examples of a complex miscarriage of justice and anti-Semitism. Despite overwhelming evidence of Captain Alfred Dreyfus's innocence, a significant portion of the French population continued to believe in his guilt due to their deep-seated anti-Semitic views. Similarly, in Nazi Germany, the regime's anti-Semitic propaganda was so pervasive that factual evidence about the contributions of Jews to German society did little to alter public opinion. Nowadays, for example, people have a few so-called white Jewish friends in, say, North America, Europe, or Australia, and therefore stupidly conclude that all Jews are quote-unquote white, and, by extension, the Jewish state, i.e. Zionism, is another so-called white colonialist entity that was built on the backs of natives who endured incessant injustice, oppression, racism, and land theft. Anyone with a working brain who is open-minded to learning knows these beliefs are utterly ridiculous and completely removed from any semblance of on-the-ground reality. To add insult to injury, anti-Semitism often provides individuals with a sense of identity and belonging, especially in times of economic or social upheaval. It offers simple explanations for complex problems and unites people against a common enemy. In this context, presenting facts is unlikely to be effective because it fails to address the underlying emotional and identity needs that anti-Semitism fulfills. People are more likely to abandon prejudiced views when their emotional and social needs are met in other, more constructive ways. During the so-called digital age, social media has amplified the spread of anti-Semitic content, creating echo chambers where false information can thrive unchallenged. Algorithms often prioritize sensational content, which can include conspiracy theories and hate speech, over relatively boring and uninspiring factual information. As a result, even well-researched facts can be drowned out by the sheer volume of anti-Semitic propaganda. Moreover, social media platforms often fail to effectively moderate such content, allowing it to proliferate and reinforce existing prejudices. Furthermore, many forms of modern anti-Semitism are deeply entwined with conspiracy theories, such as the belief in a global Jewish cabal controlling world events. These theories are particularly resistant to factual refutation because they are self-sealing. Any evidence presented to disprove the conspiracy is seen as part of the conspiracy itself. Engaging with conspiracy theorists using facts alone often leads to endless cycles of denial and counter-arguments, making it an ineffective strategy. Given the limitations of a purely fact-based approach, alternative strategies should be considered to combat anti-Semitism more effectively. These strategies include promoting empathy and understanding, strengthening social bonds, and addressing the broader socio-economic conditions that foster prejudice. Programs that encourage personal interactions between Jews and non-Jews can help break down stereotypes and foster empathy. Initiatives such as interfaith dialogues, cultural exchanges, and community service projects can humanize Jews in the eyes of those who might harbor prejudices. When people form personal connections, they are more likely to see each other as individuals rather than as faceless members of a hated group. Several people have noted that having a Shabbat dinner with Jews has changed their perspective about the Jewish people, including NBA player Enes Kanter, who is both Turkish and Muslim. Kanter, who appeared at the Stand With Us Hanukkah Gala last December 17th, said that when he first moved to the United States, he was on the phone with a woman. When she told him he was Jewish, he hung up the phone in fear. He called her back, and she invited him for a Shabbat dinner. He went, but called a Turkish friend before going and said if he did not hear from him in the next 2 hours, he should call the police, adding, quote, "It was one of the greatest nights. I realized this is not what I was taught growing up in Turkey, so I have to change that." Kanter also noted the family hosting the Shabbat meal gave him grape juice instead of wine, knowing that as a Muslim, he would not drink alcohol because it is forbidden by Islam. Trips to Israel have also had life-changing impact on non-Jews, including tech professional Megan Holzhauer. Here is how she summed it up, quote, "No matter who you are or what you believe, there's no denying the holiness of this place. I had the great honor of spending a magical Shabbat at Jerusalem's Western Wall with 80 of the most incredible, inspiring people I've encountered in this life. Dancing, singing, embracing, and feeling immense love. This memory will stay with me forever, and I am forever changed." Anti-Semitism, like many forms of bigotry, often thrives in conditions of economic and social instability. Efforts to combat poverty, reduce inequality, and provide social safety nets can help alleviate the fears and insecurities that drive people towards scapegoating. By addressing the root causes of societal discontent, it is possible to reduce the fertile ground in which anti-Semitism grows. While education and social initiatives are crucial, they must be complemented by robust legal and policy measures. Governments should enforce hate speech laws and take action against individuals and organizations that spread anti-Semitic propaganda. Social media platforms must be held accountable for moderating content and preventing the spread of hate speech. Politicians, which promise and work to this end, ought to receive our votes. In any event, fighting Jew haters with facts alone is a recipe for failure, because anti-Semitism is not simply a collection of incorrect beliefs, but a deeply ingrained social and psychological phenomenon. While factual information is important, it is insufficient on its own to change the hearts and minds of those who harbor anti-Semitic views. And if you are confronted with an anti-Semite, whether in intention or outcome, leave your facts at home, for it is best to not waste your breath on those whose brains are incapable of digesting the truth, regardless of the messenger and format.